Hey guys, this is Coastal Carolina Aquatics. I just wanted to talk about setting up your first aquarium. Here pictured is my first aquarium that I set up. It's a 29-gallon aquarium and it's a community tank in this picture. I still have this aquarium and this picture is about from a year ago, and only 2 of the fish in this picture are still alive and still in the aquarium. If you can guess those 2 fish, then you get some bonus points. So what size do you want to start out for your first aquarium? In this picture I have a 10-gallon on the bottom, I think that's a 20-gallon maybe long on the top left, and a 55 in the top right. 55 is a pretty big aquarium for a starter. You'd want to get that if you were getting an African cichlid tank. But for a starter, I'm going to recommend a 20-gallon long, and we're going to be focusing on a community tank. Community tanks mostly are made up of peaceful fish that are easy and hardy to take care of. So are you going to want to buy a starter kit, or do you want to buy all your stuff separately and like order it off Amazon is where I would recommend getting it from. So you can get a 20-gallon aquarium from Petco on their gallon a dollar sale for only $20. You can get a filter for a 10-gallon aquarium for $10 easily off Amazon. A lid is going to run you about $20, and a heater is about $10 to $15. Could be cheaper, could be more, depending on if it's on sale. And I would definitely recommend getting an air stone. Now, take into account when you buy a starter kit, they're just gonna throw like the crappiest stuff together in this box and they're gonna call it a day. You really want to go and like make your own. It's gonna be cheaper to buy your own parts, and it's gonna be a lot more customizable. You can get a 55 to 75 gallon marine land off Amazon for like $20. It's crazy. The filter that they're gonna give you in the starter kit is gonna be just a 20-gallon maximum piece of junk that's probably going to give out in a few months. Also, you want to invest in a quality heater. There are a lot of horror stories of heaters breaking and killing all the fish. The water gets up to like 90 degrees and it'll kill all your fish. So you don't want to go and buy the cheapest heater that you can find. You want to make sure that you read the reviews, make sure it's a good quality heater. Also, if you're a DIY person, you like to be hands-on and do stuff really cheap, you can make your own light. You can even make your own filter if you want to. There's tutorials all over YouTube on how to do stuff like that. Also, I would definitely invest in an air pump. You can get up to like a 60-gallon air pump off Amazon with all the tubing and an air stone for $10. So there's really no reason why. It's going to help aerate your water and get a good flow so the bacteria can get rid of all the ammonia easier. Now, stands can get really expensive for aquariums. A 20-gallon is not very big, so it's not going to be that expensive. This I think was from Petco and it was $60. And then you have tax on that and possibly shipping if it's not available at the store. You might get one cheaper off Amazon, but this is going to be like really crappily built. It's probably going to be not very sturdy. I would recommend going this route and building your own. This only cost me about $15 or $20 in wood. Took me maybe 2 hours, an hour and a half to build. It's just a whole bunch of 2x4s with a plywood top. Measure out the dimensions of your aquarium, and I might make a video on how I built this one if enough people want to know. But I still have this one. It's still holding up my 29-gallon community tank, and I know the spray paint is not the best job. My can ran out, but this wasn't supposed to be an expensive aquarium stand. It's just supposed to hold my tank up so I can see it. So your substrate, you've got larger gravel. You got like your medium-sized gravel pieces. You can get some smaller-sized gravel, or you can have sand. I would recommend getting just gravel because it's easier to clean with a gravel vacuum. Sand can create like pockets of waste underneath the sand, that can just build up, and if they get released, it'll just release a whole bunch of ammonia into your tank. So you really got to make sure that you sift through your sand and make sure you don't get any of that built up. But I would recommend gravel for a beginner. So are you going to get live plants in your tank, or do you want fake plants? I would recommend fake plants in your first tank. I'm not a live plant expert, but there are some really good looking fake plants that look almost as good as real plants. As you can see on the right, that's not the best picture of fake plants. There's even better ones than that. But for live plants, you're going to have to get some kind of fertilizer. You might have to feed them. You're going to need probably a more powerful light. And you might even need like some CO2 being added into the water to help the plants grow. But for a starter, you're really just going to want to focus on keeping your fish alive and not have to worry about plants. So here's the most important part. What kind of fish are you going to get? Now, usually people want to say a gallon per, or 1 inch per gallon in your aquarium. So for a 20 gallon, you'd only get 20 inches of fish. Now that can be stretched. Depending, it all comes down to how many water changes do you want to do. Now obviously this can vary depending on how many gallons per hour your filter is, and how much waste and how much you feed your fish. You don't want to overfeed your fish. You're going to have way too much ammonia. Here I have pictured just some fish that I would recommend starting out. You obviously got your live bears. Everybody knows about those. My optimal setup, I would have a bristlenose pleco, a couple dwarf gouramis, some corydoras to pick up the bottom, and a betta fish. I love betta fish in community tanks. So that really comes down to your personal preference, but thanks for watching, guys.